Would any of you like to speak or say anything about the process or your involvement? Okay. Oh, then no, okay.
Good evening. Welcome to the Greater Hilton Area Plan Kickoff Meeting. I'm so excited to share with you all that we've been doing regarding this planning process. My name is Tolu Walashe Ibikunle, or I just go by Tolu for short. I would like to take this time to introduce you to Sheila McAllister, Director of Planning.
Good evening.
Thank you, Sheila. Now, let's go over some of the important logistics about the meeting. Kicking off the meeting with our agenda, we're going to start off with understanding the organizational structure that this planning process will include. I'll introduce you to the Citizens Advisory Committee, or the CAC, their purpose, and why we're updating this plan. The second phase of the meeting will be about learning a little bit more about urban planning, area plans, and the Greater Hilton Area Plan process. The third phase of the meeting will cover the existing conditions, the demographics, economic conditions, connectivity, and existing land use. And the fourth part of the meeting is the closing section, where we'll talk about the next steps and a community survey that is really important for everyone to complete. As part of the preparation and adoption of an area plan, there are a number of ways to ensure a fair and authentic planning process. Our City Council appoints Newport News residents to serve in an advisory role in various boards and commissions, such as the Planning Commission. They are tasked with holding public hearings for land use cases. being a champion of the One City, One Future 2040 Comprehensive Plan, and support the creation of area plans, among other tasks. Planning Commission makes recommendations to City Council, which Council has the authority to approve or deny. Next, we have our Technical Advisory Committee, or TAC, which is made up of city staff members representing various departments or entities such as the Planning Department, Development, Newport News Public Schools, Engineering, Police, Fire, and Communications, and many more other departments as well. The community plays a pivotal role in this process because they all have a stake in this process, such as the greater Hilton area. Whether you're a homeowner, a business owner, work in the community, or you're a consumer that enjoys the local shops and restaurants, your opinion matters. As part of this planning process, we have a 7-member Citizens Advisory Committee that are residents of the greater Hilton area. They are a representative group of the community and are in a diverse group in age, race, socioeconomic status, and more. But the most important commonality between them is that they know and love the greater Hilton community and want to see it thrive. Now, without further ado, I would like to introduce you to our Citizen Advisory Committee members. Everyone, please say hello.
Hello.
Our CAC members include Charlotte Baker, Chelsea Henderson, Asa Jackson, Sarah Leon, Anya Shaw, Beth Smallridge, and Dan Waddell. And we also have the pleasure and honor of having a Planning Commission liaison work alongside the CAC members as well. Although Ms. Sharon Fox, who is also the vice chairwoman for the Planning Commission, is not a CAC member, she plays a critical role in ensuring that there are open lines of communication between the CAC members and the Planning Commissioners. Thank you so much to all of the CAC members and Commissioner Fox for joining us. A Citizen Advisory Committee is so important because they will serve as champions of the process. So what does that even mean? It means they'll be attending multiple meetings, actively participating throughout the process, and working together as a team. They keep the lines of communication when it comes to sharing concerns or ideas that community members in various neighborhoods may have. They spread the word about engagement opportunities such as upcoming meetings and surveys. They invite people to participate, and they help promote diversity and inclusion to ensure that those who typically may not participate in the planning process are encouraged to do so. For the overall planning process, there are several community engagement objectives and tools. To engage stakeholders that are representative of the community is so important. And it's important for us to cultivate an open dialogue through various platforms, such as surveys, virtual meetings such as this one, interviews, focus groups, and public hearings. Throughout the process, we will ensure as city staff to be considerate of the health and safety of all participants. I recognize that we are still in the middle of a pandemic, and so we want to meet people where they are. So whether you're comfortable with coming to in-person meetings or sending an email to me about some of your ideas, we want to hear from you. And making sure that you have access and are aware that we will continue to process updates regarding the process on the project webpage. The link is listed here on the slide. The community's opinions and recommendations will help inform the outcome of the plan. And it will also advance the community's understanding of planning concepts, issues, and different implementation tools. Now let's look at the process and the timeline. The process is broken up into 6 different phases. The first phase occurred in fall of 2020, and that was really just the project initiation, where we did some research and we also presented briefly before City Council just to give them an update and let them know that we were initiating this planning process. We did start the research phase in trying to identify different citizen advisory members who may be interested, and then through that we were able to cultivate a very dynamic outreach approach to reach out to different members of the community, and they had the opportunity to apply to be a CAC member and go through the interview process. The second phase is where we are now, where we are focusing on the existing conditions. And that's simply a research and analysis phase where we publish a community survey so that all stakeholders who are interested in completing the survey can do so. We're having our first kickoff community meeting, and we will have focus groups where we will solicit the input of our youth members of the community. It is so important to ensure that, their voices are heard as well, and various stakeholder interviews. The third phase of the process will be centered on visioning and setting goals. And all of that will still be provided to the community so that they know what the strategies are thus far, and to provide feedback to city staff and the CAC to ensure that what we've developed in the way of the vision and the goals is consistent with what we've heard in various community meetings and surveys. The fourth phase is the drafting of the plan. We will develop strategies based on the vision and the goals. And finally, the fifth phase is the final plan, where we are finalizing and tweaking what we've heard throughout the process. The last stage is plan adoption. So why are we here? What is the purpose? Why do we plan? Well, in 1998, the Hilton Area Neighborhood Plan was adopted by City Council. The purpose is to update that plan. It's been 23 years, and a lot has happened in that time frame. The other purpose is to expand the boundary. If you look at the screen, you'll notice in the light shaded orange color, that is the original plan boundary. You'll notice that it extended all the way up to Mercury Boulevard. It covered Huntington Beach Park and the War Memorial Museum, and extended all the way up to Camp Morrison and included Rivermont, North Newport News, Hilton Village, and Brandon Heights, and a portion of the Warwick Commercial Corridor. A lot has happened, as I said, since the original plan, and we'll go over some of what has been implemented since then. The other key reason why we're doing this is it's exploring the opportunity to enhance the commercial corridor along Warwick while stabilizing residential areas abutting those commercial sites. We'll examine the current demographics and existing conditions, and we want to obtain your input on future land uses, public infrastructure, and community facility improvements. And it's also to establish goals and action steps for land use types, transportation network, and that can include, biking and sidewalks and other community facilities and more. So I cannot underscore enough how critical it is that you all participate. Now let's get to the fun stuff. The character. Why are we doing this update to this plan? It's because there's already so much good in the greater Hilton area. The culture, the music, the Hilton art walks, the festivals, the waterfront, the beach, the fishing pier, the various playgrounds, the open space. It's the beautiful food that is prepared at all of our local shops and restaurants. And it's really the people that make this area unique. The other aspect of the character of this greater Hilton area is the built environment. When you look at the top 3 photos outlined in orange, those 3 images represent the historic elements that make up this greater Hilton area. You have Causey's Mill, you have historic Hilton Village, and you have the Mount Sinai Church. All of these are on the National Register of Historic Places and the Virginia Landmarks Landmark Register. Now, the bottom half is a collage of images that represent the shops and the museums and the walkability that exists in various neighborhoods. This is Greater Hilton. And so we're doing this plan to even enhance all of the good that exists. So what is urban planning? I know if you're anything like me, I didn't learn about urban planning until I was an adult. And I didn't realize back then how much it impacts everything that I do. The goal of urban planning is to work alongside the community to develop comprehensive plans and designs for the use of space within cities, towns, and area developments, and more. And the goal of planning is to maximize the health, safety, and economic well-being of all people living in our communities. This involves thinking about how we can move around our community, how we can attract and retain thriving and unique businesses, where we want to live, and opportunities for recreation. Planning helps create communities of lasting values. Think about the places you've perhaps gone on vacation. What were those things that you loved about it? Was it the local shops, the restaurants? Was it the parks, the museums? Keep in mind, all of those things were planned. Our great city of Newport News is no stranger to comprehensive planning. Beginning in 1993, with our initial comprehensive plan, Framework for the Future, it laid the blueprint for how we wanted to grow and develop as a city, leading all the way up to our current comprehensive plan, the One City, One Future 2040 plan. This is the overarching document, and it gives us the charge to implement, community facility improvements, transportation improvements, things like that. In our comprehensive plan, that gives us the charge to identify specific areas in the community to include as area plans. One of those being the Hilton area. As I mentioned, the original plan was done in 1998. It had 6 overarching goals, and they included vehicular circulation improvements in the commercial area, parking improvements, residential parking improvements, streetscaping along the commercial corridor in Warwick Boulevard, enhancing the gateways, and enhancing our parks. Now, I hear a lot as a planner when people say, okay, so what do you do for a living? And do you all really implement those plans? Well, the answer is yes. And I'm going to share with you the accomplishments from the original plan. If you think about being in historic Hilton Village, right there on Warwick Boulevard, in front of some of those beautiful local shops and restaurants, those were a direct result of implementing the plan. There were streetscape improvements that were done to widen the sidewalk, include landscaping, benches, things like that, to ensure that when the community is out and enjoying the neighborhood, those things are available to them. What are the other accomplishments from the original plan? Park improvement. We all know and love the Main Street Library. Behind it, there is a beautiful playground, open space, and a community garden. Although the community garden was not necessarily included in the original plan, it's a good example of what happens when you plan and synergy happens, where other ideas pop up and it's just like, wow, this is a great opportunity to co-locate another use that complements what's already there, a community garden. And you also notice the plaza in front of the Main Street Library. Another accomplishment is park accessibility. Now, when the original plan was done, Huntington Beach and all of the amenities around it already existed. But the key was in trying to ensure that access from North Newport News and Rivermont neighborhoods were available to those residents. So one of the ways that they did that was a pedestrian bridge that crossed over Government Ditch to the Huntington Beach Park area, and the museum and the ball fields and all of that. Now that we have discussed what's been accomplished since the original plan, let's take a closer look at the demographics. The average family size in the greater Hilton area is slightly smaller than that of the cities. The median age of greater Hilton residents is slightly higher than that of the cities as well. And all employment and income data generally are higher than that of the cities. The median year, or the average year, of the housing stock is around 1950s, or specifically 1952, which is slightly older than the housing stock for the city overall. However, it's important for me to note that even with the older housing stock in the greater Hilton area, the median home value is much higher. The data also shows that most Hilton residents drive alone to work. Some work from home, ride the bus, or walk. Let's look at a few of the economic conditions. This map is displaying in pink, the enterprise zone. It was designated in 2004, and it allows new and existing commercial and industrial businesses to receive state grants for job creation and property improvements. It's important for me to note that it also depends on, the number of employees the company may have, and there are also other economic benefits that businesses could potentially take advantage of. I just encourage that they work with our economic development department. They are a staff full of very capable and smart individuals that are happy to work alongside you. The commercial activity along Warwick Boulevard does have numerous vacancies, and we see that as an opportunity for business attraction. There are several economic anchors, including Riverside Hospital, the Mariners Museum, and other notable anchors such as Warwick and Hilton shopping centers. Let's look at connectivity in the area. We have various parks in the district, in the area. Warwick Recreation Center is a neighborhood amenity. We also have various playgrounds, Huntington Beach, Hilton Beach and Fishing Pier, and other park areas that are community assets. We also have an opportunity to explore ways to enhance and expand the existing pedestrian and bike networks. And there are a number of other amenities that we could explore ways to create safer connections between schools, the Main Street Library, and the commercial corridor. Looking at the existing land use, so what is on the ground today? Well, the predominant land uses are commercial and residential, with some community facilities and open space. So what are the next steps in this process? Well, we're getting ready to launch a community survey This is a big deal because it gives you an opportunity as a stakeholder, whether you're a property owner, a homeowner, business owner, what have you, you're a merchant. We want to hear from you. So this is your opportunity to do that by completing the community survey. It will launch in June of 2020, so next month. So please be on the lookout for it. Listed here is the website to the project webpage. So please be checking that out too periodically just to see and look at updates and things like that. And of course, stay connected. I love to hear from you. I'm such a people person. So whatever questions that you have, I want to hear them. And even if it's something that I may not be able to answer, I certainly will connect you with the person who can. So thank you so much for spending a portion of your evening with me. It has certainly been a pleasure. And now we're going to transition over to our question and answer period. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Tolu. That was a great presentation. It was wonderful information that you provided. If someone wanted to access the PowerPoint, are you going to put that on the website that you've been sharing?
Yes, the PowerPoint presentation will be posted on the webpage.
Great.
The project webpage, that is.
Thank you. And we'll put that website in the chat as well.
Thank you.
So you mentioned the Citizen Advisory Committee. How can someone get involved in this process?
Well, like I said, they can stay connected by reaching out to me if they want to get more involved with the process. Now that they are more familiar with their CAC members, they can reach out to them. They can also reach out to the planning commissioners.
Okay. And you had mentioned that the boundaries for this plan have expanded. Why did they change for this iteration?
They changed for this iteration because there has been a lot of changes since the last update, and this is an opportunity to really look at the entire Warwick Boulevard corridor spanning from J. Clyde Morris Boulevard up to Center Avenue.
And Sheila is still with us via Zoom, and we have a question that was submitted earlier. Why do some areas in the city have area plans and others don't?
It's definitely not because we're neglecting any area in the city. It's only because the area plans take time. If you look at the time schedule for this area plan, and we only have so many planners that can work on them. So hopefully, well, with the adoption of the comprehensive plan, it recommended area plans, and it recommended area plans for all areas of the city. So hopefully, as we move forward and as we complete some of the plans that we're doing now, we will move to other areas of the city.
Thank you, Sheila. Now, I think one thing that I hear the most about Hilton Village is its charm and the feel that, the character and feel that it has. So will this drastically change as a result of this process?
No, that's what we want to preserve is the character, the charm. We just want to add to it in the best way possible. And that's why we're doing this planning process, is to hear from you and hear your ideas on how we can do that.
And things are starting to reopen now with COVID. Are you going to host any in-person events or meetings?
Yes, we will have in-person meetings as well, just so that we can meet people where they are, whether it's, some people are ready to meet in person and some are not, and that's okay. So we're trying to make multiple options to engage with us available.
And we will absolutely share that information on the city's social media pages and in our newsletter. So keep an eye out for that, as well as information on the survey that's coming out in June. Now, Sheila, a question that we hear a lot is, having a plan is one thing and implementing it is completely different. So how will the city work to bring this plan to life in Hilton?
Well, what happens after the plan is adopted, we look at the other tools of implementation, and based on the goals and the recommendations that will come out of that plan, things will be included in our capital improvements program. They will be included in our ordinances in order to implement. And we'll also be reaching out to property owners, private businesses to just encourage and entice based on what comes out of the plan.
And Tolu touched on this a little bit, but what types of businesses do you hope to attract to Hilton?
Well, any number of businesses, anyone that would want to come, you know, entrepreneurs, other businesses that could probably fit into some of the storefronts that are located along Warren Boulevard. We're welcoming any businesses that would like to come.
Great. Now, Latasha Harris has a question on Facebook. Are there plans to make temporary changes to engage the community while we wait for the final implementation of the plan?
Yes, there will be, as I mentioned, various opportunities to engage the community. I'm not sure at this stage, because it's too early to say, if there will be temporary enhancements, such as something called, what we call in the planning world, tactical urbanism. So I don't know if you all are familiar with, for example, in Norfolk, they have on some of the streets where there aren't, or in some of the areas of Norfolk where there aren't any parks, they have something called parklets. And so that's something that in the beginning they tested out to see if it would work. And that's a form of tactical urbanism because it was temporary. So we'll explore that, and it's something that I hear, as you know, at least one individual is interested in that, so that's something we will certainly explore.
And those are all of the questions we've received. Sheila, I want to ask you one last question, and then Tolu, I'd like you to answer the same one. But Sheila, what excites you the most about this plan and its development?
Well, what excites me the most are the opportunities that are available in that community. That community has been a thriving community throughout. I mean, it's been showing signs of wear and tear, but this isn't the first time that's happened in the Hilton and the Rivermont and that entire stretch. This is not the first time that it's seen wear and tear, but it continues to be an area that people are attracted to. It's very walkable. It has the opportunity to create more walkable environments within it. You have certain areas that may be showing some decline, and with a little bit of love and attention, it could be revived. And I just think that because of the walkability of that community, because of the parks that are at either end of the community, that even though it appears to be a long walk, but walkable to the neighborhoods that are there, and the single-family neighborhoods have maintained their value, and they have maintained the quality throughout the years, and it's just an inviting community. So that's what excites me.
What excites me about this process, honestly, is the opportunity to get to know people out in the community, but especially the young people, the youth. It is why we have two young people who are just about to finish high school serving on the CAC, because it's an opportunity to teach them and their peers, what planning is all about, what local government is all about, so that they can be engaged now at a young age, so that will last well into their adulthood.
Great. Well, thank you both. And we will post your contact information, Tolu, in the chat.
Great.
But those are all of the questions we received.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much again for spending a portion of your evening with us. We really appreciate your time.
That's it.